Did you see who was at the Warriors-Lakers game?
Of course I saw. It was
George
Christian
Kittle?
McCaffrey, George Kittle, and their dear, dear friend Sam Darnold.
Dude, Sam Darnold, man, he
Telling
is.
you.
I get why he's tight with McCaffrey because obviously they played together, but damn, is Sam doing the right thing, man? Ingratiate yourself to those Niner veterans.
Kittle is the key because Kittle is essentially the face of the team. If you have Kittle on your side, I mean, especially on offense, you got it. Like, that's a good one to have. Darnold's very smart here. And Trey, I mean, like, he must be looking at that like, hey, why didn't I get a text? I would have gone.
Right.
We both could have gone, but no.
That's the question. Is Trey Lance on the text chain?
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't seem like it. I don't know. Maybe it's his fault. Maybe he doesn't text back, but it's such a obviously awkward look.
He's not going to make that same mistake that Jimmy made with the not texting back, would he? I feel like if you're Trey, you got to have your phone on you all the time, man. Come on.
I would think so. Like, the funny thing about Trey is if you look at his Instagram, I'm not on Instagram, but when I do check out his Instagram, there's a million pictures of him looking at his phone. What is that like a Gen Z thing or whatever? It's like, hey, take a picture of me looking at my phone. Ooh, that you got me. You got
Who's
me. That was
taking
candid.
those pictures? That's what
Who
I
the hell is
wanna
taking
know.
those pictures? That's a weird pose.
Do you have somebody on the
Taking those
payroll
I don't
following you
understand.
around?
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's
It's
really,
supposed to look so
really
casual, right? Like, oh, I'm just not doing anything. Like, yeah, you posed. That's a pose. What are you
right.
doing?
Manny watching on YouTube says Brock is average. They won't develop Trey. Same outcome. Again, I don't want to say that Brock is average either. All I'm saying with all these guys is that we don't know yet. And I know that's frustrating for people, but that is the actual correct answer. We don't know, but nobody wants to admit it. Everybody has chosen their side.
With Brock, like, I think during the run, some people were like, hey, kind of poor man's Joe Montana, scrambles around a little bit, doesn't have the strongest arm. Like, comparing Brock's arm to Joe Montana had a howitzer compared to Brock Purdy. Go back and watch young Joe. He could actually push the ball down the field. Brock isn't really that guy. When he throws the ball down the field, the wide receivers are stopping and waiting. To me, like, he can do a whole lot on a really good team, and he's like the perfect backup for this team. But to just say that that's the franchise quarterback, I think that's the Jimmy Garoppolo mistake. They're different quarterbacks, but they're both not franchise quarterbacks, in my opinion.
The one thing that's different about Brock than Jimmy, though, did you catch Brock with the Kelseys? They asked him, who would like clutch situation, who are you throwing the ball to? And he said Debo. Yeah. And they were like, oh, wow, Debo over Kittle?
Oh, the guy who always drops the ball? Yeah, he's a great choice.
And Brock said, when I throw it to Debo, the ball just sticks with him. George likes to let it get to his chest, is basically what he said. I love that answer from Brock Purdy. That's so
he said that.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's not an exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing, but he definitely
Brock
talked
Purdy's
about,
he's such a G. I love that.
Yes,
dude. He's so cool.
I love
That's why I
that.
like Brock, dude. Because I feel like he just takes constant little public jabs at George Kittle, like me. And I think that's money. Because George, I feel like he could take it,
Well, one, I don't think George is really going to, George will probably just see that and laugh at that.
He'll
but the point is, Brock's thought about it. Like, he's thought about it, he's recognized it, and he said it on the pod, which is great. Like, you need he is not afraid of being the leader and the quarterback and like the sheriff of the offense. And I love that.
It's a very smart, savvy thing to say because it's sort of like challenging your tight end to be better. When really, I don't know that Brock really feels that way. I've watched Brock play. Like, he goes to Kittle in the red zone. He doesn't go to Debo. So it's something to say, maybe that's how you get Debo on your side and how you get the most out of Kittle. It seems actually a very savvy thing to say. He does seem like he has this real natural leadership ability, both not just like lead by example, but vocal. It's very interesting. Yes. Which might mean he's more than a backup, right? He carries himself like a starter.
He absolutely
really does.
And there's part of that you need. You need to make the right decisions for the team, regardless of how the team themselves are going to feel about it at times. And the story I always go back to.
Kyle won't do that.
Right. The story
Kyle won't do that.
Sorry, is Chris Carter complaining to Warren Moon with the Minnesota Vikings. Like, hey, man, I was open. You got to throw me the ball. And if anybody's familiar with Chris Carter, like, he's not saying that in a gentle way. He's coming at you pretty hard. And Warren Moon turns to his head and grabbed him. And he said, if you ever talk to me like that again, I will bury you in this offense. And Chris Carter said, I never complained to him after that ever again. You need a little of that. You're the quarterback. It's all on you. You have more responsibility than anybody else. And yeah, you should think about in crunch time, if I got to go to a person, who's it going to be? And Brock, he said it, he thought about it, and I loved it.
Here's another way to look at it. The quarterback is the grown-up in the huddle.
Yes.
Right? And everyone else are like kids, and they're going to push the envelope and see what they can get away with and talk. And it's up to you to set limits and boundaries. And that's what's so weird about this team is the kids in the huddle are 30 years old, and the grown-up in the huddle is 22. And I think Trey Lance was a little overwhelmed by that. I don't think he was in there like setting limits and raising his voice. I think people said like, hey, dude, we can't hear you. Because Jimmy had that big, he has that really deep projected voice. You can hear him. I think I don't know that Brock has that voice, but clearly he asserts himself.
Yes.
In a way you have to, which is like probably rare for a freaking 22-year-old on a team like this.
Yeah, last pick in the draft.
Rare.
He's never acted like it. I'll give him that. Gammon
Right.
Brown says, true or false, the Christian McCaffrey restructure is for Sam Darnold's starting salary.
I wonder. I guess that's an interesting theory, man, because it ain't for Brandon Allen. We all thought it's for Yannick Ngakoue, but honestly, I think they're gonna let Drake Jackson like play. If they sign Yannick Ngakoue or another edge rusher, that's basically saying, yo, Drake, no playing time for you. I know we took you in round 2 and didn't give you a chance, but we're giving you the Trey Lance treatment. You're done. We hate you. I don't think he's trending that direction. I don't think they're giving up on Drake Jackson. I think they might look at him as more of an Aaron Banks type. So that is terrifying, Gammon. Probably.
But if they saw Drake kind of fizzle out at the end of last year, which Kyle literally said he lost his power, maybe they want a Yannick Ngakoue or a Justin Houston so that they can spell Drake. It's like, hey, let's have more people to throw at you, and we don't have to worry about Drake's conditioning at the end of the year.
Or maybe that's what Robert Beal, Cleveland Farrell, and Austin Bryant are here for, and Kerry Hyder. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like fair. You start counting the bodies. Like I think. If I had to guess, they don't sign Yannick Ngakoue or Leonard Floyd or any edge rusher, and Gammon's right. And what they're doing is opening this cap space just in case. Because, right, I mean, it's a legitimate possibility that Sam Darnold could be the starting quarterback this year. Sure. And if I said like 10 minutes ago, this team could go 15-2 with any of these quarterbacks in the regular season because the whole thing is about running and defense. Well, what if Sam Darnold just happens to be the guy who's in the back seat going 15-2? Well, you might have to pay him. So, yeah, it's true.
And the 49ers literally said that. They loved how he played in that 6-game stretch when the Panthers were running the ball 31 times a game for like 200 yards a game. So
he didn't play great, but he was 4-2 on a team that ran the ball. So what are they going to do here?
No. Sean says, I don't think it matters who we see with Kittle and Christian McCaffrey. I rarely saw Ayuk Debo with Kittle. Certain players seem to vibe with each other. George Kittle's kind of corny. So was Jimmy. George Kittle is kind of corny.
Yeah, I would have to say so too.
But
so is Pat McAfee. And people like him.
So. Yes, they're characters for sure. Bay Marin says 49ers quarterback picture, Trey, Brock, and then a ghost for Sam Darnold. Well done.
What's Brandon Allen?
I don't even know. Eric Branch actually had a hilarious tweet. I want to give him credit for that. Which let's see if I can bring it up. Okay. There are 59 quarterbacks that have thrown at least 250 passes since 2019. Brandon Allen is 52nd out of 59 quarterbacks in completion percentage. The guy that's one spot ahead of him at 51 on the list is Sam Darnold.
Sam Deasy. Sam Deasy. You know who Sam Darnold looks like to me? O'Doyle Rules all grown up.
Kind
of. Billy Madison. Like, I could just see him throwing a touchdown and being like, Darnold rules.
I kind of want him to do that, to be honest with you. That would be a class move.
Just Carlos be a villain, man.
Yeah, embrace it.
Be a villain.
Kyle's ego and his inability to know how to develop a quarterback will never let him win a ring. Purdy fell into his lap. Lucky pick. It absolutely was a lucky pick.
I don't think anything in that comment was false. That was a lot of truth right there. Kyle, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong.
Like, the Patriots don't get a ton of love for drafting Tom Brady, and the Niners shouldn't get a ton of love for drafting Brock. They got lucky. Come on. Like, it's okay to say that. Like, that doesn't wipe out everything, but it's okay to admit that they got a little.
The only reason he even played last year is because Jimmy got hurt. There is a universe where he never plays, and we still don't know what he is. The Niners don't know.
Manny says, we need a quarterback who can beat the AFC quarterbacks. Brock can't. That is the big question, is You're not just trying to get a Super Bowl window. You want a championship window. Just getting to the Super Bowl is not enough, and you're going to have to beat potentially a Hall of Famer when you get there.
Well, that's why Brandon Allen's on the team. He comes from the AFC, okay?
Right.
He mentored Joe Burrow. Like, a lot of people think he's better than Joe Burrow. And when I say a lot of people, I mean no one in the world. So
yeah.